Great Revel Howard and Anton Dubek.
Right, so Strictly, we had Halloween week. It was absolutely incredible because I mean Craig and Anton's outfits.
The scary matching twins.
The shining twins. I mean, we actually said last week that you said you really wanted to see Craig in an outfit like that, so I was laughing so much when I watched it because, wow, they looked amazing, didn't they?
They really pulled it out the park.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 to the costume department. I loved, though, my personal fave was Claudia Winkleman basically came as herself, but Carlos Gu, the pro dancer, came as Claudia.
He did, yeah.
And he just understood the assignment. He was giving realness with all the actions, and he got really into it.
Do you know what? I was watching at home and I could see, you know, in the Clauditorium she was talking and then he was stood at one point right next to her and I was like, I'm so confused who that is. He looked amazing. And
he looked gorgeous as well.
I love Halloween week for that reason though, because everyone looks so good. But for me, Anton and Craig stole the show. They did this little Instagram video, like a TikTok, and they just looked so good. Halloween week was 10 out of 10. But talking about the Clauditorium, what we do have to talk about, we've got a bit of an exclusive for you, a Strictly exclusive. So a bit of drama going on in the old Clauditorium.
Well, this is post the group with Gwyn and Katya.
Gosh,
There's more drama.
There's more drama.
Okay, tell me.
It seems like, you know, it's such a happy place, that Clauditorium, but behind the scenes, things seem to be going on. So what we've got is the source has actually said to The Sun that there is some friction between Kai and Nadiya, obviously two pros. They obviously dated for, what was it, 2 years,
2 years.
I think?
They broke up in the summer. It was quite a shock split.
Shock split.
But they're now having to work together, aren't they? And he hasn't got a partner this year.
He's not got a partner. Obviously, Nadiya did, but they're out now. And I think, obviously, you know, all the pros stand up at the top, but a source has said that it's painfully obvious that Nadiya and Kai are in that kind of very awkward post-breakup stage to the point where they're really struggling to be near one another. They're not talking. I think Nadiya has said in interviews before that they're just not pals, they're not friends. It's one of those where they're not pretending.
She's unfollowed him from social media. I mean, that's the ultimate.
That.
So, I mean, maybe it's a situation where they're having to be kept apart. I mean, the other thing about that Clauditorium is you've got like 20 people crammed in there. It's a live show. They're all trying to get their little faces on the camera because it's like gives them the extra bit of fame.
Totally.
So, okay, that's interesting. So there's actually stills of them not being next to each other.
Well, this is it. And so basically in the Clauditorium, they are, I mean, you might notice they're always on opposite sides, so they won't be stood together. So it says, you know, the source said to us, although they may have big smiles on their faces when the cameras are running, it's really tense between them. They're refusing to be near one another. There's not much room up there, like you said, with all the professionals. So they're just kind of having to do their best to avoid one another. I kind of get it. Like, you know, imagine breaking up with someone and then having to see them every single day in quite a close working proximity. It must be a lot.
Well, you know the old saying, you don't S where you eat.
Exactly.
So and that's the thing about workplace relationships. If it ends in tears, you still got to work together, and it's mega awkward.
I know.
I mean, do you know who have made it work though? Katya Jones and Neil Jones.
Yeah.
They obviously were married, and then while she was married to him, she was caught snogging Sean Walsh. That was like back in 2018.
That feels like such a long time ago. I feel like that was the big. What was it? Strictly Cut. Like that was the biggest Strictly Cut.
That was a
for me.
huge drama.
Yeah.
But they are still kind of working together behind the scenes, and that's worked out well. So okay, so you've got Nadiya and Kai having been kept away.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of drama with Katya and Gwyn. So obviously a few weeks ago we saw the hand kind of grab, and that really set, like, you know, everyone's tongues wagging, and there had to be about 1 million apology videos from everyone involved saying, oh, it was a joke, gone wrong, you know, slap on the wrists. Well, now fans have noticed for the last 2 weekends, Katya and Gwyn are nowhere to be seen from the Clauditorium. So it's almost like, have they been banned? Have they been told they can't go up there just to keep disaster at a minimum? But apparently, so we've got an online team who cover the show, and every time they put a call in about this towards the end of the show on Saturday night,
They sang it there.
Katya and Gwyn miraculously appear as if saying, no, we're all here, we're all still happy. But we definitely haven't been seeing as much of them, have we?
But why are they making it so obvious? Like, it's like Strictly making it really obvious. Like, surely if you wanted to kind of get away from the drama and this gross scandal that's happened, you'd have them up there and have them in plain sight the whole time, no?
Yes.
Because it's like they're trying to hide them away in case something else happens. I find it's a bit more awkward. And, you know, I was on X on the weekend, whilst I was watching Strictly, and I saw so many comments.
Everyone
like,
was watching.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that it's quite hard for them to navigate is, as we know, when they're partnered together, the pro and the celebrity, when they're waiting, they're all like arms around each other, holding hands, because that's how it works in the pro world. You know, they have to give off this union chemistry together. So Katya and Gwyn are kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't, because if they're acting normal where they're all over each other, everyone's like, oh, is that a little bit gropey again?
Like
exactly. So it's almost easier to get them off camera. So I can see what BBC bosses are doing there, keeping damage limitation to a complete minimum.
But kind of doing the opposite in doing that. So they can't win, can they?
No,
they're in a bit of a catch-22. And I think everything that Gwyn does at the moment by viewers is being overanalyzed. Like it's all eyes on Gwyn. He did really well though on the weekend, didn't he? We said that we loved the dance.
He's got so much stage presence. That's not me being weightist. I'm saying that he is really kind of charismatic.
Yeah,
he's really expressive with his, with his face. And I think he's actually got really good rhythm and timing, which is really important. And I mean, I've always said Katya is one of my favourite choreographers.
She's good.
She's also really
good.
She's good at making the dances comical if they need to be. So I enjoy watching them dance, and I hope that they get over this little blip, this little mini scandal.
I mean, absolutely. When we talk about scandal, obviously we've now got to move on to another scandal, because Strictly seems to be full of scandal at the moment. We've got Jowita and Pete. So what happened is they were obviously training. This is another Sun exclusive that we have, and they were training in a room. And didn't they have to be moved away because Giovanni, obviously who is no longer on Strictly, was training in the studio next door, is that correct?
So he obviously is taking part in Strictly Come Dancing Italia, Italy.
That's it, he's doing really well.
But he came over to the UK last week to appear on Lorraine, and he wanted to carry on training with his partner, Bianca, who's an Italian actress. But the studio that they used was right next door to Pete and Jowita's studio. Jowita and Giovanni are exes. They didn't want to be pictured together, so they moved across London. But the other weird thing about this whole kind of love rectangle is Pete has been seen snogging twice now. Maura Higgins, whose ex is Maura Higgins?
Giovanni.
Do you know, I'm getting a bit sweaty. I'm going to have to take my top off.
It's like, this is too much
chemistry.
drama.
I know. I'm just going to take my jumper off. Sorry, I'm not getting sweaty over my hots for any of the men.
Please leave that in. That could be an outtake. So if we think about so there's, I mean, what would you even call it? A love triangle, a love square? I don't know what's going on. So Jowita and Maura have both dated Giovanni and Pete. Because Jowita and Pete, obviously, there were rumours that they were having some sort of romantic thing going on. But he's been with Maura the whole time then, no?
Well, I think that he has been dating Maura.
Right.
She's done a podcast today where she describes him as her bestie. She's known him for years. But as we know, friendship
starts as friends.
And, the lines can blur. So it looks like they are now dating.
Yeah.
I still think something may have happened between Jowita and Pete.
Oh gosh, the chemistry is, everyone's saying it's now a showmance because they've seen the pictures of Maura and Pete snogging, but for me how do you fake that? I know they have to for the dances.
The pictures as well also show Pete having a cheeky little bum grope. Obviously consensual, but it's it looks like they are. It can't be a showmance. It feels very kind of intimate and touchy-feely.
But you know what? We've got to move on to something a little bit sad. Obviously, we got the news, didn't we, this weekend, that I was actually writing at the time when the news came in about Amy, poor Amy. And
Amy Dowden, yes.
Have put out obviously a statement and said that she was rushed to hospital on the Saturday night.
Yeah, so it's really bad. So she actually was injured last week. She had to sit out of Friday rehearsals. That Fridays are the day that they go and do their dress rehearsal down at the studio. She sat out of rehearsals and Lauren Oakley stepped in to dance with JB Gill. But then she was able to do the live show on Saturday, all good. But then she collapsed with her Crohn's disease. Poor thing. Got there was an ambulance, got rushed to hospital, and then Lauren Oakley stepped in for the results show. So it really was pretty impressive, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And it's just sad because I think, watching the show, they looked amazing, JB and Amy, didn't they?
Yeah.
And obviously they've gone through to the next round, which is really, really good. But Am I right in saying we're unsure at the moment whether she'll be back because Lauren's going to replace her this week?
I think Lauren stepped in so far for rehearsals, and I'm sure Amy will be there if she's well enough to help choreograph.
Of course.
But they often do that. If someone's had an accident or they're not feeling very well, they often give them a week off to recover, which makes a lot of sense.
Clearly.
And obviously, poor Amy has been suffering with cancer.
Yeah.
She's all clear now. She's back dancing, but I think that understandably bosses just want to make sure that her health is all above board and all good.
That is the most important thing, obviously, and Amy's amazing. She is so loved by her fans, it's actually unbelievable. Like obviously she's an amazing dancer, but she spoke recently about kind of her motivation behind the show and wanting to do it, and it's just because so many people have sent in inspirational messages to her to say, we've struggled or we've been through a cancer battle, and to see you now out there like living your dream and doing it, and absolutely amazing.
Another thing is that Amy's really popular with all the cast. I know that when she collapsed backstage, poor Diane Buswell,
they're really good friends.
Really good friends, and she was in floods of tears, and then obviously she couldn't go with her friend to the hospital, so she then had to kind of put on her brave face and also perform in the results show and wait for the results. So I think it was a lot of drama. So
it must have been a shock for them all because it happened around 9 p.m. and I think isn't that the cut between the performances and then the Strictly results?
Yeah.
So obviously they're flung into the situation, but that's I guess why they have backups just in case these things happen. Injuries, as we know for poor Nick Knowles, they happen on Strictly, and really hope Amy's okay.
Sending lots of love to Amy.
We've also got to talk about the most amazing performance. There were two. Sarah Hadland, I think she stole the show.
She really did. I mean, because I think Tasha has almost been the best dancer the whole way through. And then Anton Dubek quite rightly said, you know what? I didn't see it coming from Sarah Hadland.
He thought it'd be Tasha.
She just came out of nowhere, and I thought she looked beautiful. She looked amazing. Beautiful. And she was really good.
They're such good dancers. Poor, who she partnered with? It's Vito. He split his trousers, throwing her around the dance floor, didn't he? Why does this keep happening?
I don't know. Well, clearly, someone in the costume department wants to show off Vito's rotund behind.
I love that.
And maybe they're doing them a bit too tight.
They are. Vito. Because didn't this happen? Oh no, it happened with someone else. But there seems to be a lot of split trousers. So either the costume department's working overtime. But they did such a good job, and actually reports say that obviously Sarah's really good friends or best friends with Miranda, so they want her to come and do Strictly now, which would be brilliant.
I think if we see Miranda in the audience, she's quite reclusive, Miranda. If we see Miranda in the audience, that is a dead cert.
We know
that the bosses are have got their claws in, and they will have given her an invite to appear on the show next year.
I've seen her. I'm surprised.
Well, I interviewed Sarah before she started the series, and she said that Miranda loves the show. They often have watch parties with their girlfriends together, and she thought Miranda would come and see her. So I hope she comes.
Maybe if Sarah's in the final, surely.
Oh yeah.
And I think Sarah will make it to the final. I think she'll make it to the final. And I think, obviously, Jamie, who we were raving about, weren't we?
So Jamie Borthwick, he obviously massive EastEnders star, got a huge fan base.
Yes.
He won the Christmas special, and he's, a few things about him. I think he's got real character, real personality. He's a really good dancer. He's so humble. He's
so humble.
He seems just genuine and nice.
Yeah.
I mean, we both know in this industry you get a lot of divas and personalities backstage, but I'm kind of rooting for him now. He's sort of sprung up out of nowhere as a little bit of a favourite for me.
I think so, and I think people, Strictly viewers, they love that kind of humble. Who won it last year? It was... Oh my gosh, his name's completely gone out of my head.
You mean Ellie Leach? And
sorry, Ellie won it last year.
Vito won it last year, yeah.
Exactly.
Are you getting muddled up with Bobby Brazier? Because he was a runner-up, wasn't he?
He was nearly the winner.
He's also on Strictly, EastEnders.
Yeah, but I think Ellie, and she's also got that kind of humble nature, hasn't she?
Definitely.
So that's why I feel like Jamie, I mean, for me, he has come out of nowhere. He is just... I'm amazed by his dancing. I think he's great. So he is probably my winner at the moment. I said this last week though as well.
Okay, so you've had your eye on him for a while.
Jamie, I have indeed. Yes.
Well, this weekend it's Icons Week.
Yes, I love that.
And this is the first time they've done it. So they're all going to choose different icons. I think we're going to see a Beyonce dance from the pros. But Pete Wicks actually let slip. He's going to be Freddie Mercury.
Oh, yes. He'll be so good as Freddie. I feel like that's such a bit of him.
He's going to bring the attitude, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Pete's already an icon, though. Can't he just go as himself?
Oh, really? Oh,
here I go again.
That was smooth.
Who would you be?
Britney Spears, always obsessed.
Okay, I'd be Christine then. I'd be Christina Aguilera. Oh. I think she's got some good outfits.
Obviously, it's all very well Lottie and I talking about our opinions on Strictly Secrets, but we want to know about what you, the viewers, think. Please comment below because we read all of them. I want to know who's your favourite, who's the underdog, who you don't like.
Like, subscribe, and we will see you for Strictly Secrets next week.